Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, children. Welcome again to story time. We were getting to know Abdul Muttalib and his accomplishments, and which brought benefit to the people of Makkah. So we continue. People in the surrounding places could see Makkah gain prosperity and how it attracted people from everywhere. This was making the city rich and strong. So they too tried to make their cities attractive for the Arabians around. However, people still liked to come to Mecca and not go to any other city for pilgrimage. Yemen was governed by a Christian man called Abraha. He had made his church so beautiful. It was beautified tremendously, and yet people still came to the Kaaba. He tried to win the people over to his church, but still when no one came, this made him angry. With no success, then he came up with an evil plan of wanting to destroy the Kaaba itself. So he decided to come to Mecca with an army and demolish the Kaaba. He thought this would be a good way to have people forget about the Kaaba, and they would come over to his country, and they would enjoy his church, and his city would become rich. He shared his plan with some other important people to him to get their support. Though some people also tried to stop him from going to Mecca with such an evil plan, but he would not listen. Some neighboring kings and rulers even tried to stop him, but he became so stubborn. People in Mecca got to know about it. Abdul Muttalib was worried. Along with his people and his sons, he tried to do whatever they could, but they were not as many as Abraha's army, which was still increasing. They prayed to the God of Kaaba to protect it. It is best to do all you can and then pray for Allah's help. On the other hand, many people helped Abraha to achieve his evil plan. On the way, he was helped by many people joining in his army, which now rose to a figure of 60,000. When Abraha reached Makkah's outskirts, his men took away all the camels and sheep which belonged to Abdul Muttalib and the Meccans. When Abdul Muttalib saw this, he went as a courageous man to see Abraha, who had encamped near Makkah. He, Abdul Muttalib, demanded Abraha to give the animals back to him as they were in his care. Abraha was surprised that he was concerned about his animals and not the Kaaba. Abdul Muttalib answered wisely, "There is a Lord of the Kaaba, and he will save it." Still Abraha couldn't understand, not concerned that much about them. Abraha returned his camels, and Abdul Muttalib left. The next morning, Abdul Muttalib told all his people to evacuate, leave their homes, and go up around the hills of Makkah and take shelter over there. He prayed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect the Kaaba. He held on to the Kaaba and prayed so hard, begging Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to save it from the evil intentions of the huge army, praying to Allah to save the Kaaba from every kind of harm. And his dua was accepted, mashallah. Abraha's army of 60,000 men, known as the Companions of the Elephant, started at the break of the day, moving towards Makkah with a strong intention of destroying the Kaaba. As Abraha advanced towards Makkah, the elephants were roaring with trunks upwards, and the soldiers were very happy for their commander, Abraha. He was now confident that this task was going to be so easy, no one was going to protect it from him. Suddenly, the animal stopped. They wouldn't move forward, no matter how hard the riders poked them. No animal moved ahead. Above in the sky, a cloud of birds gathered, came towards them, with special hot pebbles in their beaks. They approached the army from above. As they flew above the army, they dropped the stones, locking the entire army as their targets, causing a painful disease. This caused a great chaos. There was no control over the situation. Complete disorder and confusion and cries were heard. Abraha saw this and ordered his army to return, so they started backing out. They moved opposite of the Kaaba and fled towards Yemen. Much of this army began to die on their way back too, as well as there. This miraculous event marked the year as the year of the elephant, and later this year would become the year of the birth of our Prophet Muhammad SAW. This event is also related in the Quran as Surah Fil.
ألم تر كيف فعل ربك بأصحاب الفيل ألم يجعل كيدهم في تضليل وأرسل عليهم طيرا أبابيل ترميهم بحجارة من سجيل فجعلهم كعصف مأكول.
The learning outcome for us can be: firstly, intentions are very important. Secondly, hopelessness is forbidden to Muslims. Thirdly, we need to do our tasks in the best way possible and leave the rest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So alhamdulillah, we come to the end of today's story with a positive note. So till next time inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.